Hello, hello. My name is Liz Ashley and welcome to my channel. Hello. How is everyone doing today? So before we get into everything, please like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. And I have a membership and a shop and all the things, just getting out all the things in the beginning. Yes. So I have a bit of a structure now that I kind of created. So I'm really excited for today because we're going to try that out today. So first, we are going to do the question of the day. Let's get it going. All right. So my question today is, has anyone seen Quantum Leap? I guess it's an older show. It's a show that was like on before now, but they added it to Netflix and I watched the first season. I'm in like the middle of the second season and it's a very good show. It is somewhat political, which is kind of cool. I wasn't expecting that. They had a whole like episode about like trans kids in sports and it was really beautiful and I cried the whole time. I'm not going to spoil the show, but I just want to know if people have watched it and what they think. I'm in like the middle of the second season and I'm not super happy. The first season was amazing. The second season, not as much. Yes. All right. So today we're going to be talking about Cenk and his crazy text to Emma and him being like vindictive about their fantasy football team, which is kind of crazy. And then we are going to talk about the National Guard in Chicago and everything that's going on with that. And then also about Obrego Garcia and what's going on with him right now. And then lastly, we're going to watch a fun little video at the end about drag in the beginning of like the drag scene. I thought that would be really fun. My new little segment I'm gonna add is just something where we can learn something, you know? So I thought that'd be fun. So yes. First, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go over some headlines from today. All right, so today's headlines, Obrego Garcia is in ICE custody again and may be sent to Uganda. That's what they're threatening him with, which is crazy. Israel bombs Yemen and is seizing Gaza City currently right now. Trump signs orders ending cashless bail. And he also is trying to make flag burning illegal, which the Supreme Court already said that it was legal. So I don't know, but he's trying to make burning the flag illegal, which is stupid if you ask me. The Pentagon is planning a military deployment to Chicago, and Trump says that China must give us rare earth magnets or he will impose a 200% tariff. Yeah, which is really crazy. You never saw Quantum Leap? Yeah, it's okay. It's new. It's kind of new, I guess. It's really good, though. But yes, those are our headlines for today. Lots of stuff going on, lots of crazy stuff. And we'll be talking and digging more into some of those after our topic of the day. So I mentioned our topic of the day, but our topic of the day is Cenk sending a crazy text to Emma because I don't know, it's like the biggest red flag in the world and just crazy. Just crazy. He's a grown man. But okay, we're going to get into it. So let's talk about the topic of the day.
Max Left is my new TRT Football League name. Thanks for Will from Indiana. Yeah, I tweeted this out. Just so funny and petty. I gotta laugh.
Also, I am watching the Vanguard video because there is no other video. I looked on the Majority Report and I watched while this was happening, and I should have just done like a screen record, but I didn't. But I know a lot of people are always in my comments like, oh, why are you doing like, why are you reacting to like, other people reacting? This is the only place I could find it. All right. But I love the Vanguard. I think they're great. Watch their video. We're only going to go through some of it because at the end they talk about Anna. But yes, that's why. Because this clip is nowhere else. So here we go.
About it for a sec, but I got some insane text from Cenk on last Sunday. I was traveling.
I was literally watching while this was happening. Like I was watching live and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, what?
Coming back from Chicago. God, was that last weekend or 2 weekends ago? 2 weekends ago.
2 weekends ago, yeah.
Just basically, like saying, oh God, what was it?
Something about purity text?
I texted you guys.
Totally normal stuff.
I'm like traveling, and it's just like, do you want to continue? I won't read the whole thing.
Okay, so yeah, they went to Chicago for the DSA. I'm pretty sure it was the DSA convention because I know Hassan went too. And and so I guess Cenk texted her on the way back. And like what he says is actually really funny to me. Because I guess she's still in like the TYT fantasy football league thing. I don't know how that works. Never done it in I did a basketball one recently, but I lost like the first round because I had no idea what I was doing. All right. Let's keep watching.
But just like, you're fraternizing with a bunch of fascists.
Fraternizing with the enemy. That's a line from Harry Potter in the Goblet of Fire where they get mad at Hermione and Ron Weasley's like, you've been fraternizing with the enemy.
Like us. And so I get this. It's a rude text. I haven't talked to him in forever. I just send him the fantasy money because he's the new commissioner. He took over for someone else. And
probably somebody he fired or couldn't afford to pay anymore that previously had the job of the TYT fantasy
commissioner. Oh my God. Yeah. Honestly, if I were her, I would have been like, okay, I don't even know. Should you even beat it anymore? Because like, who on TYT do you still like, are you still friends with? I guess John. Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I'm not really sure. I feel like it'd be kind of weird at this point because like, like, who's in there? Is Hannah in there? Who knows?
Sports League commissioner, but now Cenk has to take it over. One, because he's a total narcissist and he wants everyone to have to deal with him. And two, because he doesn't have anyone to delegate to anymore because he's gotten rid of all of his disposable staff.
Well, also, like, that he's been thinking about this because, like, if you were just going to send someone a text just, like, out of nowhere, just out of nowhere, like Cenk is actually upset. Like he thinks about this a lot. JR's in the pool. Yeah, you are right. JR is probably in the pool. I love JR. And good. I'm glad everything's good. I'm glad all is good. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think JR is in the pool. You're probably right. And I love JR, but I just like, I mean, it's gotta be kind of awkward. Like we'll get to what happens, but anyway, like it's gotta be kind of awkward that you're like in this fantasy thing. And I guess you don't really talk to people that much. I don't know. I'm just saying it's gotta be awkward that you're still in it. And then there's all these people who've like either been talking about you or you've been talking about them, I don't know. Cenk would be petty enough to take over just to kick Emma out. Honestly, that's a great conspiracy theory. Like, that's a great theory because you're right. I do think he's that petty. Like, and I think she explains the text even more, but like, he continues to be that petty. Like, why? You are a grown man. Why are you texting her like this? Like, I don't know. She'll get into it, but it's like, why are you doing this? This is crazy. Oh my God.
You can ask Griscom. I'm in a lot of leagues, and I'm never in the group chat because I'm in it for the love of the game, not for socializing, I guess, which is what made Cenk upset.
You're like, for the money.
So he was upset because she wasn't participating in the group chat. This man is like, that's crazy. I am one of those people that I'm not a big group chat person. Okay. It's hard enough for me to respond to like text messages, like just like one-on-one. Group texts just like overwhelm me to no end. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. And like, like I have group texts with like, some friends and like I'll respond, but sometimes it takes me a little while. It's very overwhelming for me. But they know, they're very understanding. But like, this is just crazy. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of people on this fantasy football thing who is going to sit here and just like, and talk to all these different people. Like, that's insane. Oh my gosh. Okay.
He was sending me these long things about how I need to participate or also apologize or something like that.
Oh my God, Cenk is really like, because that's what he said the other day on TYT. He was like, they need to apologize to me. They need to apologize to me. And so, I guess he texted her that. Which is even funnier. That's so funny. See, now I thought that he went into the Majority Report chat and I like posted a picture of it, but somebody told me that it was like a troll and it wasn't the real Cenk that was in their chat. I don't know. I believe them, and so I deleted that post because I was like, well, if it was just a troll and it wasn't him, I won't do that. But I don't know, man. Like, he's like texting her directly, like, you need to apologize to me. That's insane. That's insane. Like, you cannot control, like, he wants to control everyone around him and like wants everyone around him to just like, I don't know, I guess like have this undying respect for him. I know people like that. I know someone like that. And so if you are not willing to do that, and if you're not going to apologize for something that she should not have to apologize for, then he's just going to be petty and he's just going to be a big little baby, which is so funny. Cause again, he's literally an adult. Like, how old is he? Like 50 or something? Like, dude, dude, you are a grown ass man. Like, act like it. Chill out. Like, what is happening?
And I changed my name to Birthing Persons and then called it a day. And then like 2 weeks later, he kicked me out. So that's the...
So we now have...
So this is my favorite part. She changed her name to Birthing Person in the chat or in the whatever. I don't know any of the logistics of this. And then he deleted it. And then he deleted it because she renamed herself Birthing Person. He like kicked her out and like deleted her. Which is so petty, which is why that theory might be correct. But I just really love that she did that, and I hope Anna was in the group chat and saw that. But I think it's hilarious because Cenk always wants to go on TYT and be like, they should apologize to me. We're the bigger people. They're the ones that are grifters. Da 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 da. And yet he's the one over here sending long ass texts to people who he hasn't talked to in months, years. Did she say years? And you're sitting here deleting someone because the name that she put upset you. Did it trigger you, Cenk? Did the name Birthing Person get you guys so upset that she just had to leave from your fantasy football team? Oh my God. Like, while I was watching this in the fun half, it was in the fun half last week in the Majority Report. While I was watching this, I just was in such disbelief. And I was like, man, Cenk is really toxic, isn't he? He's obviously a toxic boss because that is like, listen, when I was a teenager, I used to text people like that too. I'd be so upset and I'd be like, I'd be worried about what they were thinking and I'd be worried about, whatever, anxiety. But like, since then, I've grown up and now I don't even really like to text. And I don't over-explain myself in text anymore, really, unless I have lots of anxiety and I know the person very well. But like, other than that, like, I don't know. It's not worth it. Like, this is crazy. Like, obviously you guys are never going to see eye to eye. Obviously they should not have to apologize. And obviously Cenk's not going to reconcile anything until they apologize. And that's not going to happen, nor do I think it should. And so, like, this is just dumb. This is just like it literally is like teenager behavior. Like, like what is happening? Oh my God. But yeah, so I guess this is the confirmation of Emma, that the Birthing Person, your team Birthing Person has been deleted. And so Cenk deleted, her team because he was mad. And he's a big baby. Okay. Emma renaming birthing person was a good comeback. It was a great comeback. Cannot stand with Cenk Flintstone. Oh. That's funny. Yes. All right.
Information that she changed her name to birthing persons after getting this pushback from Cenk. That's how I at least interpreted that. She kind of was just in the chat on the league. I don't play fantasy football, but I can imagine how this goes down, right? So she's there. Cenk starts to get really triggered, demanding what sounds like she said an apology, demanding she apologize or participate or something like that. And then,
well, yeah, that's what it was. He wanted her to participate in the chat, but then he also said that, because if you heard what she said earlier, he also said that, aren't you fraternizing with like fascists because she's in the same group chat as Cenk and probably like Anna, and which is really funny to me because you want her to talk to you, obviously you want her to talk to you, obviously you want to talk to her, right? That's what this all is about, obviously. And yet you're like, well, you're in the same group chat as me, so aren't you a fascist? Since you want to call me aren't you aren't you fraternizing with fascists? Like, he's so mad because they called him that. Like, they didn't call him a Nazi, but he always likes to say that they did, but they didn't. They were just saying that he was putting himself in the same rooms as Nazis, as fascists. And when you share a table with one, that says a lot about you and who you are as a person. And Cenk didn't like that. Cenk did not like that. Cenk did not like being called out about that. So I think that's why he's so upset, because he's like, I don't know if he has some like warped sense of what happened there. Honestly, I think he's just trying to rewrite history and hopes everyone forgets what he did after Trump won. But I don't think people are going to forget. You doubt Anna is in the poll. Yeah, you're right. She's probably not. I don't know Anna, but you're right. She might not be. Emma had to be like, I'm not reading all that. Honestly, I wouldn't like, I don't even understand. Like, it's like, obviously you guys are not on good terms. It's okay. Not everyone has to like you. Like, that's something you have to come to terms with in life. Like, sometimes you are going to be the villain in people's story, and that's okay. That's just how the cookie crumbles. All right. You gotta be okay with it. Yeah.
In response to that, she then changes her team name to birthing person. And honestly, this is just so funny because obviously Emma is such a polite person. She's so nice and friendly, and she seems so wholesome. But it is funny that she has this streak to her, where she's like, yeah, I don't mind needling my former boss, this piece of shit, Cenk. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna be a little bit messy. I kind of like that because, that's not a side of Emma that you always see on air.
Me too, and I was surprised she talked about it. I was like, wow, she's actually like talking about it. Because I guess someone today, I know I was watching Today, and someone asked her a question about Anna, and I don't even know. Apparently Anna said something. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with Anna. But they didn't even really answer it. Like, they didn't really answer it. And so I was surprised when she talked about this. But I was like, wow, I mean, I was happy. I thought honestly, I thought it was wild.
Like I said, she always seems so classy. And not that this is not classy or whatever, who cares? But I just think it's funny that she has this side of her, Oh, 100%. And I think for context, everyone should know, I confirmed this, Emma was the 3-time TYT Fantasy Football Champion.
Oh my God, Miri Lopez, you might be right. He could have just done all this to get her out because she keeps winning.
He was no slouch. You guys wonder why she wanted to fucking rejoin the sports league? She was going to kick ass. She was going to curb stomp all these guys who don't know anything about sports. She probably took great pride in knowing that she was going to absolutely annihilate whoever the guy is that does TYT Sports, okay? They still have that guy. He's still on the payroll. But I guarantee he wasn't going to beat Emma Bigland this year in fucking TYT. fantasy sports. Either way, I agree. Changing your name.
God, I love Emma. I do. Emma's just like one of my favorite people. Like, I just love Emma. I just feel like she's just all around, like, I don't know, I'm being parasocial, but I feel like she's just like all around a good person and just like a great person, and I just love her so much.
I think the birthing person is like, it could be considered good ribbing, honestly, in the correct fantasy sports league.
That's what I said the other day. I was like, Jake should have taken this as a friendly, like, jab, like, oh,
Right.
LOL. We may have had this dumb beef, but we're still playing fantasy football together. Who cares?
Exactly.
No, it's just so childish, and like you can tell this, like that. I think this is how you can tell that there's a toxic work environment, and that it has to be like, it is toxic. It has to be toxic, and he's like a toxic boss because you can't, like, this was a joke. It was a joke. Is your skin so thin that you're just gonna completely remove her from the whole entire game because you don't like that she made a joke? That she made a joke because you guys wanted to get settled over birthing person. Like, come on. It was funny. It was so funny. But I feel like Cenk doesn't, like, this is, and I think this happens in like a lot of men, especially like this, is they don't want to be disrespected. And if they feel like they're so important and they've done so much and everyone should respect them. And so if they feel like they're disrespected at any point, then they just lash out. They just lash out, and it's your fault because you disrespected me, and I need not to be disrespected, because their ego is so big. And that's what he did. And so instead he just acted like a child because because that's who he is. Because like, this is crazy. She's really passionate when she talks about it. Sports, yeah, I know. She is. No, Emma, she does. She knows so much about sports. They talk about it on the majority report sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
Exactly. And I think that Emma would have even stuck it out as an olive branch. Like, again, to your point, I don't know if she, originally just had Emma Figlin's fantasy sports team or whatever her team name was last year entered this year. But I would have taken it at least as some sort of an olive branch that, like, okay, the bridge wasn't totally burned. She still was in our fucking fantasy sports league. But because he's on such a power trip, you had to be like, no, bow to me and kiss the ring, or you're not allowed in my fantasy league, of which there are thousands that are fucking more fun than mine. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. It's just a power trip. Like, it's just him, like I said, him wanting people to like grovel to him because he feels like he's disrespected, and he feels like he's too important, and he's too big to be disrespected. And I don't know. It drives me crazy. I think it's crazy. Like, I think it's crazy. And I think that sending a big ass text to her like that is crazy. Crazy. Like, that is next level. Like, and I've been a person that has sent texts like that, but I was a teenager, right? So like, I feel like it's a little different. and it comes out of like, I feel like it comes from a place where you don't have like control of how other people perceive you, And so I think Cenk knows how he's being perceived and sees it and understands it. And he's mad because he wants to change that and he wants to control the situation, but he can't. And so instead he just lashes out. Yeah. In my mind, Anna was like, Cenk, delete her team now. Honestly, I think Anna is behind a lot of some of this stuff. Which is kind of crazy. She just seems so vindictive. Like when Cenk was like, apologize to me. Like, if they apologize to me, then like maybe. Anna was like, he was like, do you have anything to say? And she was like, nope. I was like, okay. Okay. God, she's just so vindictive and so petty, and she really is just like a mean girl. And I don't know, it just sucks. It sucks that she's such a mean girl. It really does. Yeah. Okay. He can't see him as not her superior. True. No, you were so right. That makes so much sense, because he literally, like, he can't control her. He has no, like, input on what she does, what she says. And that's because he's not her boss and he's barely in her life. And so like he feels like he still needs to have this sort of like power over her, or the superiority over her, because he was her boss at one point. And it's like, no, you guys are peers and you are not treating her as such. And I don't know, I think it's messed up. I hope Emma still gets some sports fun somewhere else, because had to stop. I heard that. I did hear that because of her wedding and everything like that. She was doing the wedding planning, and so she stopped for a little bit. But she said she's not going to do it anymore, the ESPN stuff. So I did not listen to that. but I hope, I hope she still talks about it sometimes on the majority board, because she does get really excited about sports. I'm sure Emma was in many pools. Oh, I'm sure she was. And I'm sure she's winning most of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Story behind that.
Seems like censorship to me, but what do I know?
One line I remember is, how are you going to engage in witty repartee with fascists like us?
See, that's what I was saying. He's like, he wants to talk to her. He wants her to participate in the group chat. But when she does participate, he's like, oh, how are you going to interact with us fascists? Like, I think he was trying to get her to react, or get her to like be in the chat, so he could say that to her. I bet you anything. He was like, I'm gonna text her about talking to me in the group chat, and then if she responds, then that's her fraternizing with fascists. She called us fascists, even though I don't think they did. But I bet you anything that was his plan. He was like, oh, they're fraternizing with fascists now. Oh my god. That is the most psychotic thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh my god.
We were really, I don't know if I'm seeing.
I love when they do that. They do it all the time, and it's so funny. I laugh my ass off every time. Polly Market Studios.
When I told Sam that story, we were laughing pretty hard around here about that. But, to each their own. See, I can't imagine getting so butthurt, especially as a grown adult man, about fantasy football and who's in the league, and who's not participating in the group chat enough. But
you're writing like 1,600 words, and it's just like, don't you have a show to produce?
Also, like, dude, it seems.
I can neither confirm nor deny if Gavin and I have seen these exact text messages, but if I had seen these exact text messages, my first reaction would have been like, damn, I don't even know if I want to read all of that. Like, I don't even know, like...
Wait, so does that mean that they have? Does that mean that they have? But that is crazy to send such a long text like that to someone you, like, barely talk to, or, like, you don't talk to anymore. Like, that's crazy.
You're looking at a text message wall, and you're like, what? They sent you out. Did you even read all of that? Because I would have just been like, oh, well, that's crazy. I don't know if I have time to read all.
Like I was saying, I hate fucking having to respond to long-ass messages from people.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there are only like a few people in my life that I will like text, and it's like a long text message. Like, there are a few people in my life that I actually text with. Let's be honest, okay? And so when people send me texts and like, I don't know, I have had like old friends and stuff send me texts, and like I'm just like really bad at responding, and I just sometimes won't respond, which is so bad, I know. But like, if like there are only a certain number of people I text. I have like a very small group of friends that I'll text, and then I have my family that I'll text, like mainly my mom and my dad. And so like I don't really like like if you're sending me something like that, I am not responding. I'm not the one. I will not respond. I just won't.
Dude, it's the worst.
More like you want me to apologize. It seems more about other stuff than me participating in the group chat. I would argue. But, that's a level of emotional maturity that you can't expect from him at this point.
And it's so true. I mean,
it is true. Again, he's just like a little baby. He's acting like a baby, bro. Like, are you a teenager? It's like, are you a teenager? Are you still like, like, what the hell? How are you managing all these different people and then acting like this? Like, that's what I don't understand. And that's how you know he's a toxic boss, because there is no way there is no way that this is just like a new way you're acting. Like, you must have treated other people like this before in the past. Like, this is crazy.
And that's the number one takeaway from all this personal shit between the Majority Report and TYT. It's just, you immediately can tell how much more normal the Majority Report crew is
Yes.
than basically any of the main personalities at TYT, besides like John Iadarola maybe. But, between Cenk and Emma, it's so clear they're fucking narcissistic. They're basically obsessed with themselves and the way that other people are discussing them online.
Yes.
Versus the Majority Report, they're just like laughing it off like normal adults would.
Yes.
Like, they're not so fucking triggered by this shit. They're not so up their own assholes. They're not so obsessed with what other people are saying that they're just able to laugh about it like normal people. And I know that from fucking experience, because I remember back in the day when we did make a few very critical videos about the Majority Report. I forget. I think it was maybe Force the Vote or something about AOC. But
I wasn't in the YouTube sphere around then, but I do remember, like when Sam, I think, first came on their show. After a while, they're like, yeah, we're gonna bury the beef or whatever.
Right, at one point we got real feisty. The claws came out. We were roasting and dunking and in classic Vanguard style.
We had a very different take on the tax of the rich dress.
We did.
I guess they didn't like it.
We came up once on the Majority Report. This was before we'd ever talked with any of the people on board. And Matt, brought us up, or somehow we got brought up, but he was like, it's okay. Like, we're fine with people disagreeing with us. Like, yeah, they sometimes, disagree with us, but we can take criticism. And that's something you almost never hear from Cenk and Anna. Not just in real.
Never. They take it as a personal attack, and I understand, like, sometimes with ADHD, I have ADHD. Sometimes you have like rejection sensitivity and stuff. So, like, I understand getting like defensive sometimes, but like a lot of times you just need to like take a breath, take a beat, and then be like, okay, is what they're telling me true? And if it is, then like, yeah, maybe you should rethink your actions. Maybe you should think about what you're doing and make better choices. I don't know, but I feel like a grown man and a grown like a grown ass man and a grown ass woman. This should not be this difficult, especially when you're criticizing politicians all the time. Like, you're criticizing all these people all the time, and you want them to listen to your criticisms and you want them to change their actions and do better. But you're not willing to do the same. You're not willing to listen to what people have to say. And that's just like that. I don't know. Then like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you trying to be like, why are you talking about this stuff then? If you're not going to take criticism, if you're not going to listen to your audience, like, why are you not? And now I think a lot of people who are getting like criticized from their audience, or a lot of people are coming from their audience, they'll be like, oh, well, people like Hassan or the Majority Report are just audience captured. And which is not true. Like, the but the Majority Report has had people push back on them a lot. I saw something the other day about one of their sponsors that they had. Someone pushed back. And so like, and they listened, and I think they responded very well. And so I just like, this is not some like anomaly. Like, people push back. But what happened is that when people pushed back on Anna and the birthing person thing, and they tried to do it personally, they tried to do it in person, and they tried to be nice about it, she's the one who wanted to be a mean girl. She's the one who wanted to get personal. She was the one who wanted to start calling people out. She was the one who was like, well, I'm politically homeless because God, the left, they're just so mean to me. They're just meanies. And the right, like, I don't know, they're just being really nice to me right now. Like, she's the one who did all that. Like, she's the one who did she's the one who's doing like the Dave Rubin pipeline. Like, that's what she's doing. And so if she would have just listened to the criticism and maybe like thought twice about how that could affect people and how that would seem to seem to a trans person. And she didn't want to do that. She didn't want to see it from that perspective. She just wanted to be rude and disrespectful and just stand 10 toes down on it instead of actually like caring about other perspectives. And so I feel like, well, it's because I just don't feel like Anna really cares to hear other perspectives. And I think she just wants to do what she wants to do. And Cenk seems like he's like full-fledged behind her. And so, but that's how this got so messy. That's how this got so personal. And so, like, them expecting the majority report to like apologize to them is crazy. Which product did they stop selling? I know they've stopped selling a couple products. I forget what it was, but I don't remember what it was. I don't remember. There was one that I know that people have like called in about it, and Sam's like, oh, I'll look into it or whatever. I know there was one that Sam mentioned, but I forget what specific one it was. I'm trying to think. I don't remember. But I know Sam has mentioned it before where he's like, well, you know, we were going to have this one sponsor. We did. And then we got rid of them. And then, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, that Sam has talked about it before. I just don't remember which one. But, you know, I feel like they also get criticized for other things. Like, I feel like they have people calling in and, you know, even if they are on the left, they do sometimes like disagree or criticize some of their takes. And so I just think that like to expect not to get criticized on the internet, like it's just, I mean, people are going to criticize you. People are going to say things about you on the internet. That's what happens. But and you think Cenk would like know that by now, but I guess Cenk's whole thing is I do think Sam speaks too slow. I know, I don't remember. I wish I did remember. I don't. But okay, what was I talking about? Oh, I think Cenk, a lot of this is ego for him. I think a lot of it's ego for Anna, because I feel like they're like, well, we built the online space and now you guys are criticizing us. Like, you know, what's wrong with you? Because when right-wingers used to criticize them, they would get mad, they would get upset, but it wouldn't be like this, you know? And the reason I think it's like this is because they feel like they created the online left space and they feel like they made it possible for everyone else. So how dare you criticize them? How dare you, you know, second guess them? Even though they deserve the criticism and they deserve to be questioned. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. But that's what I think it is. I think it's a lot of ego. But yeah, okay. So I think that's it for this one. Let's see.
To us and our criticisms of them. But in general, they always react in such a fucking out-of-pocket way. It's like,
they
just
do.
be normal.
Yeah, for sure. I try not to take anything that anybody says about us or the show or our political analysis to heart, because again, at the end of the day, we're all in broadcast mode. We're all like, I'm gonna share my exact fucking analysis of every single thing that you say fucking suck, man. You know, and that's just not how people live in the real world, right?
No.
But I always like to use the analogy of like, all right, you know, everybody likes sports, right? It's about to be football season, right? Like, I cannot run up to Gavin if I see him on the street or a stranger or whatever, right? And just tackle him around the waist, wrap him up, and just fucking pummel him into the ground, right? But if I sign up to play football and I put my pads on and I'm the defensive back, right, and I see a lane to the quarterback, I'm going to wrap his ass up and I'm going to put him on the ground, right?
I get what he's saying. So he's basically saying, like, online when people are talking about stuff, they do get a little animated because it's like entertainment. It's online. That's what it's for. But in real life, he's not gonna just like come up and start like cussing someone out because they said something he doesn't agree with or whatever. Which I agree. Yeah. So that's it about Cenk and him texting Emma in a crazy manner, and I don't understand why he did that or why he thought that was appropriate. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's kind of a crazy thing to do, especially if you haven't talked in a while. I just think it's a little crazy, and I don't appreciate it. She recently lied again about the apartment building's gang problems, and both glazed up Tucker, the young terse, what happened. I know, I saw her glazing Tucker when she was like, oh, he's just so humble. He lives such a humble life. And I'm like, Please stop. Like, please stop lying to people. No, like, everyone knows you're lying. We know you're lying. Stop. Like, stop lying. Like, stop trying to gaslight people into thinking that this man is somehow living humbly. Yeah, rural Maine. He lives in rural Maine. Have you never been out in the country? There are people who live out in the country that have money. That doesn't mean that he's living humbly. Like, that doesn't mean anything. He lives in rural Maine. That doesn't mean anything. That means he probably just has a lot of land, which is even worse, which is not living humbly. Like, this is so insane. The more that I think about it, the more mad I get, because I just, like, I hate Tucker Carlson. Like, I truly hate Tucker Carlson, because when I used to live with my dad, he would watch Fox News and Tucker Carlson would always come on. And I would literally, like, I could hear it from my room, and I would be sitting in my room and I would just be like, I was just like, his voice and his cadence and the way he talks would just drive me insane, because he is very good at getting people to believe him. And he is very good at, like, manipulating stories and manipulating people, and, like, he's just very good at it. And when you listen to him, I feel like it makes you feel crazy, because you're like, how is, like, what is happening right now? I don't know how to explain it, but I hate Tucker Carlson so much. And so trying to, like, whitewash this man who is extremely racist, who is one of the reasons we are in this situation where we are today, one of the reasons that people around Trump are, like, in a cult, or so cult-like, he's one of the reasons for all of that, okay? So to sit here and try to whitewash him, or just, like, try to be like, oh, he's so humble, but just, like, it's okay, he's okay, is insane. Insane. He's got 2 other mansions. Exactly. Like, what the, I don't understand. He talks like he would talk to a baby. No, he does. And I think that's the part that just, like, drives me insane the most, is that, like, I can tell what he's doing and I can see what he's doing, and the way he talks is just so it is a little demeaning, but then it's also so conspiratorial that, like, everyone believes it. I don't know. It's hard. I feel like it's hard for me to explain, but you all probably get it. And so I don't know. I just, like, Tucker Carlson is just the worst. He is the worst, and he is, like, a psychopath. I'm telling you. Maybe not psychopath. Which one is it socio or psychopath, when you just, like, don't feel anything, or you have, like, no empathy? Whichever one, I feel like he's that one. Because he just does what he changes his mind. He changes everything. Like, he changes his mind, and he, like, on a dime, he does psychopath. Okay, so yeah, I think he's a psychopath. Honestly, I really do think Tucker Carlson's, like, a psychopath. I really do think that, because I just don't think that he cares about anybody else. I don't think he worries about anyone else. I think he worries about himself. I think he's gonna do what anything he needs to do to get where he wants to be in life. And yeah, that's my personal opinion. I hate Tucker Carlson so much. Good day, hello. And then boomers fall for his shtick. They really do. I told this story once, but I'll tell it again. My aunt, I don't know if it was, like, first when Tucker Carlson was on Fox News. I think it was like when he first got into Fox News and took over for Bill O'Reilly. Maybe it was a couple years after. But my aunt was like, well, you know, like, you should listen to Tucker Carlson. Like, he's really cool, and he's kind of like a centrist. And I look back at that now, and I'm like, you think he was a centrist? He's crazy. He is, like, one of the worst people. He was one of the worst people on Fox News. He was in no way a centrist at all. But, you know, hey, here we are. Oh God, that'll always be a funny story to me. Okay. All right, so that was the topic of today. Next, we're going to dig in to some of the headlines that we talked about earlier. So basically Trump sending National Guard to Chicago, and Obrego Garcia maybe being sent to Uganda. And so we're going to get into that really quick. All right, if you weren't here earlier, I'm starting to like structure everything. So that's why I have all the little like topic cards. But yes, we're going to get into some headlines today, and we're going to dig into those. And so
Max Left is my new Party Football League name. Thanks for
let me turn this off real quick.
Just so funny and petty. I gotta laugh about it for a sec, but I got some insane.
I still can't figure this out, how to get this to stop. But anyway, one day I'll figure it out. LOL, Tucker hated his visit to Australia. Reporters mocked him for his stupid and fake laugh. He really, God, Tucker Carlson is really just the worst. I hate him so much. I hate him so much. Okay, so first we're gonna talk about Trump potentially sending the National Guard to Chicago.
Welcome back. Time now 6:43 this morning, and after sending the National Guard to D.C., President Donald Trump is threatening to send troops to Chicago and other cities. So let's go live to Scripps News Group national correspondent Joe St. George. And Joe, what's the possibility that other cities get involved, and what would be the goal for troops if they do get sent in?
Yeah, I think the probability is pretty high. I think there's a logical question here. Could a Colorado city be potentially targeted? Denver, after all, homicides take place in Denver for the moment.
Also, let's just preface this by saying that, okay, so Donald Trump sent the National Guard to DC. He was able to do that because DC isn't a state, right? And so he's able to do that legally, right? Even though he's lying, and he's probably going to be there longer than 30 days because he can only legally be there 30 days. But of course he's lying. He's saying that there's crime everywhere. And now they're saying that, in the past week, crime has been down. There's been no crime at all, which is probably not true. Also, it's only been like a week, or it's only been like a couple weeks. And so they really can't decipher that on any level. And so just lies all around, just straight up lies all the time. But now he's talking about sending National Guard troops to Chicago. And this is something that would not be legal. Again, not that it matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if something's illegal. He's going to do it anyway. And so he's now threatening to send them to Chicago. Now, he's been saying this for a few months, but as I headlined earlier in the live, the Pentagon is actually like drafting like a plan if they were to go into Chicago. And so that's what they're doing. He said that Chicago is a killing field, which is not true. I have actually been wanting to go to Chicago because I don't St. Louis is not that far, and I've been wanting to move there, but I don't know. The things are just getting so crazy. But yes. Okay. How about Trump send the Epstein file to Chicago? Honestly, blue cities and red states and SF. Yeah, that's the thing. I think he's starting with a lot of blue cities and blue states. But I do think eventually he will get to blue cities and red states. I think those just might be the last, because I think people, a lot of conservatives, they really do believe that he's like cleaning up or whatever, which also using the wording of like cleaning up. Like, I think earlier in an interview, he said they cleaned up all the trash, and I don't think he was actually talking about like literal like trash. I think he was talking about unhoused people. And that's what I think. And I think he was also talking about like any immigrants, because there was this horrible video of this man being like, I did nothing wrong. I'm coming home from work. And ICE agents are like kidnapping him, putting him in a car, and he's saying his name. He's screaming his name so that way other people can like try to find him because he doesn't know where he's going to go. He doesn't know. It was just gut wrenching. It was gut wrenching. It was so upsetting. And so I think that's what he was talking about. Like, I was listening to that today and I was like, is he talking about literal trash? Like, is that what he's talking about? And I'm like, no, I think he's talking about unhoused people, which is so insane. And it's fascist rhetoric. And this is fascism. This is how it starts, and this is how it happens. And I think a lot of people still believe that he's actually sincerely doing this to get crime down, and that's crazy. That's crazy because that's not true, and this is not how you get crime down. Yes, let's keep listening.
The president doesn't appear to be looking at the Mountain West. There seems to be other cities closer to the president's heart, if you want to refer to it as that, on this particular issue.
Well, they also have black mayors too, so that also seems to be a trend that he's going after.
Baltimore being one of them. The president posted on social media over the weekend, described Baltimore as crime-ridden, really got in a social media spat with the Democratic governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. Moore responded by saying that Baltimore is at its lowest homicide rate in his lifetime. Now, Governor Moore is really a millennial governor. He's not exactly 80 years old, but still a noteworthy perspective from local and state officials in Maryland.
What does that have to do with anything? What does it being a millennial have to do with anything? The crime is down. The crime has been down. It is very low. And that is the other thing Donald Trump said today. He said, well, everyone wants to talk about how crime is at historic lows. And he's like, yeah, but we just put the National Guard in there. No, they were saying crime was at historic lows before that. They were saying crime had historic lows before that, before you send the National Guard in. And so like, I really think he's losing it. I do. I know everyone's like, oh, is he going to die? Like, his health is so bad, which I mean, it probably is. Believe me, I think this man is gonna live for a while. Okay. I do. Cause I think evil people and people with money and power tend to live a while cause they have the resources to do that. So I think he'll be fine. But I do think his mind is definitely going a bit because he keeps saying crazy shit like this. And I don't know if it's just stupidity, because it really just could be stupidity on every level. But it also could be that he's just like losing his shit. Because he's like, yeah, they're saying, oh yeah, crime has been down, crime's down, da 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 da. Well, we just sent in the National Guard, so how are they gonna say that now? No, they've been saying it, which is why you shouldn't have sent the National Guard in. Like, that's the whole point. Oh my God. Wow, why is Trump so stupid? He really is so stupid. Cankles, yes. The talks about going to paradise. I don't know if I've heard that one, but I know he's been talking about like if he's gonna get into heaven. Which I'm like, dude, you are not going to heaven. I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in heaven and hell, but if they do exist, bro, you are not getting in. Are you kidding me? And he has to know that, which is why he's saying this, because he's like, oh shit, like, oh shit, I was like the worst person in the world while I'm on earth. Like, like, I can't just use money to get myself into heaven. I don't know. Maybe you can. Anyway, I don't know.
Obviously, President Trump has a different purview. In many ways, he has to feel it, and he isn't necessarily feeling it with Baltimore. He appears
feeling it. This is a news station. They're saying Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has to feel it. He has to get a vibe. And if he gets a bad vibe, he's sending in the National Guard. Like, that is literally what this man is saying right now. That Donald Trump is sending the National Guard to cities based on vibes. Because I mean, this is just insanity. Like, this is insanity. That's Heaven, Ice, and... Okay, one second, I'll talk about... Okay. No, it's just insane. God is a woman and she's not letting them in. I love that. Heaven and paradise are not the same. No, I guess they are. I guess they are the same thing. I don't know. No, you're probably right. No, they probably are the same thing. But I don't know, man. Maybe he is like going through his life and he's like, wow, I really am a shitty person. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt he second guesses anything he does. But no, like literally this guy is just saying that this is all on vibes. That like all of this is just on vibes, which is psychotic, which is crazy, which is insane. How literally that's what tariffs are. Tariffs are essentially based on vibes. He's doing the tariffs based on vibes. Like his whole presidency is like based on vibes. This is crazy. This is crazy. He's like, well, if he feels like sending the National Guard that day, then, you know, I guess he will. The fuck? Like, what the fuck?
To be feeling it with what's going on in D.C. over the weekend. The National Guard became armed in many cases. That's an escalation of this front.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. I think I have a video about that too. But so I guess when the National Guard first went to DC, they were not armed, right? Pete Hegseth the other day, I guess I don't know what he did, but he made them be armed. He made sure they were armed. So now they're armed. Now they're armed. Now the National Guard is armed in DC, which is really dangerous. And you're right. It is fascism. It is fascism because now that they're armed, this escalates things so much because that guy that's like become like a legend that threw the sandwich, how much you want to bet if that they were armed, they would have shot him? Because they would have. Because I think a lot of these people who are going into these positions nowadays, now that Trump is in office and now that they're just like hiring whoever to do whatever, I think a lot of these people, like, that's what they want. They're like looking for a fight. They're looking to do force. That's why they're there. And I'm not saying that for everyone, but I'm saying a lot of them probably are. And so this is going to escalate the situation, but I think that's what he wants. I think he wants to escalate the situation, and I think he wants them to be armed. So that way if something does happen and someone does get hurt, he can continue to do martial law and send the National Guard like everywhere. And I do think that's his ultimate plan. I think that's his ultimate goal, which is really terrifying. There was also, I'm surprised that it hasn't been in the news that much lately, but I saw this news article the other day that I think it might have been in a red state, so I think that's maybe why they're not talking about it, but I think someone did shoot at an ICE officer because they were trying to like kidnap them and detain them. And I think someone did shoot at them. And I don't know what happened. I just saw it and I haven't seen anything else about it, but I do think that might have happened. And I think that's going to become more frequent because there's just so many guns in this country. So to think that you can just start going after people and kidnapping them when there have been instances of people dressing up as ICE to assault people, what are we supposed to do? Like, of course there's going to be mayhem. Of course there's going to be chaos because this is out of control. This is out of control, and you are allowing ICE to just do whatever they want. You're allowing them to wear masks, and now you have people out here cosplaying ICE, which everyone said was going to happen, and now they're assaulting people, and this is just going to end up. I think this is going to end really badly. Like, I do really think, every time I say this, it reminds me of Hamilton, but I really do think it's like a powder cake waiting to explode. I think, there's so much bubbling and everyone's just acting like it's so normal, but the more and more National Guard goes to all these different cities and the more armed they are and the more force they use, the more dystopian and the worse this is going to get, which is quite terrifying. It's red meat for his base. Yeah, it is red meat for his base, but I don't know when they're gonna see that, like, the National Guard are gonna, I mean, if you say something wrong, they're gonna mess with you too. Like, I don't understand, like the National Guard are there to also control you as well. When the National Guard inevitably comes to your city, you know, if they're conservatives or they believe in MAGA or whatever, when the National Guard inevitably comes to your city, then what are you going to do? Like, then how are you going to act? Because, like, you're a citizen. You're no different than anybody else. They're going to treat you the same exact way. So, like, what are you going to do then? I don't know. Did you see that clip of some guy heckling JD about couches? I did. It was him. Yeah, they were in Washington, D.C., and he was like, go F a couch. Go F a couch. I did see that. That was really funny.
But the president is posting on social media this morning how proud he is of Washington, D.C. In fact, he just posted seconds ago saying, quote, D.C. is safe and booming. He said that 3 minutes ago on Truth Social. So this is an issue that the president is clearly interested in. Where else beyond Baltimore? Chicago was mentioned last week in the Oval Office, and the Washington Post reported over the weekend that the Pentagon has been drawing up plans for a possible deployment to Chicago in the near future. So expect this to be replicated. Where is he going thus far? Cities run by Democrats.
Well, and I don't like that they're not saying that, like, that. I understand, like, it doesn't matter, but, like, it's also not legal. Like, he's not allowed to do that. He is not allowed to send the National Guard into Chicago. He's not allowed to do that. Just like he wasn't allowed to do it with California. Now Gavin Newsom but you know, he's in court with it. I think I don't know. It's held up it's in court right now. And so in Chicago, they're like, the governor and the mayor are like, we're looking at legal options in case this is something he's going to do. Now, do I think that's going to change anything? No, because he seems to do whatever he wants, no matter of the legality or what the court says or not. Just like Alligator Alcatraz. Literally, after I talked about it last week, literally the next day, Ron DeSantis came out and said, we're not listening to that. We're not listening to that. We're going to continue. Because what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Like, they have felt no repercussions, like, at all. We're going to talk about Brigham Garcia after this, but they've had no repercussions at all. Like, they have not listened to court. They have not listened to court orders. They have gone against court orders, and nothing is happening to them. Nothing is happening to them. So, of course, they're going to be like, why? I don't have to listen to that. Why should I have to listen to that? Why should I have to follow the laws? They're not going to.
That's in states with Democratic governors. That's important context as this story develops.
Yeah, honestly. And the other thing, like, this can get more, like, this is going to get more fascist and this is going to get more authoritarian. But the other thing that's kind of scary is, like, okay, a lot of, like, the southern states are sending their National Guard to DC. And so now, if they do it in Illinois, are the states around there, like Missouri, going to send their National Guard? And so when does this become a civil war? You know, like, when does that happen, right? And so I think there's just so many things that are going on that it's just, I don't know. It's just hard to feel like, it's just hard to, like, stay sane, I feel like. And it's hard to act like things are just every day is normal, because this is not normal. This is not normal at all. But yeah, there's a window I see sometimes and down the street, and it's just like, this is not normal, and I really appreciate that. So yeah.
The BI team tonight is tracking the latest threats to Illinois from the U.S. Justice Department. Attorney General Pam Bondi is now calling on Democratic...
Is it bad that her voice is very newscaster voice. Okay, let's go.
...led states to dismantle policies that forbid local law enforcement from working with federal agents on immigration enforcement.
And just hours ago, President Trump said he may soon deploy the National Guard here in Chicago to focus on crime.
Chicago.
Okay, this is what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear him talk about this.
It's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent.
He's not incompetent. Brandon Johnson is great. Okay, I know that there's some people who don't like him, but if you pay attention to what he's doing, he's been doing a lot of good shit recently. So he's not incompetent.
And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this.
Speaking from the Oval Office, a threat from President Trump that you may soon see federalized National Guard soldiers striding down Chicago streets.
I would expect to see the administration use the case, the sanctuary city case, as grounds for, if they choose to do it, for activating the National Guard, for federalizing the National Guard. The theory being that the state of Illinois is obstructing the federal government.
Insane. They're saying that because the police won't work with ICE, because they won't work with immigration enforcement, they think you're obstructing the federal government. So now we're gonna occupy your state. Now we're gonna occupy your cities. Now we're gonna occupy you, because the federal government is going to occupy its own citizens because you are not doing what we want you to do. And it's really funny because I think I was watching The Good Liars. They had an immigration video come out the other day, and they went up to people and they said, "What about states' rights?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm for states' rights." He's like, "Okay, so then what about what's happening, sending the National Guard to LA?" "Well, he just had to clean it up. He had to do. Okay, but what about states' rights?" And it's like they couldn't put the two together. They couldn't, and I think some people just don't care. They're just like, no, and some people are honest about it. They're like, no, we want to be able to dismantle states' rights, but you can't. But then there's some people who just don't even I don't know, the Good Liars were talking to this guy and he just couldn't, I don't know if he couldn't come to terms with it, or he just he couldn't understand that sending the National Guard, not federalizing the National Guard and occupying U.S. cities is that goes against everything when it comes to states' rights. That goes against that goes against everything you're saying you stand for, and yet you're excusing it, and you just can't see how contradictory that is.
Its effort to enforce immigration law.
ABC 7 chief legal analyst Gil Sofer telling the I-Team while an action like this can and likely would be challenged in court, the seldom used strategy of deploying National Guard troops is becoming more and more common.
Until...
I just hate the way they're talking about this, and I've noticed this from watching a lot of different news stories recently. Everyone's just talking about this this is just normal, and there's no intensity, there's no nothing, and I think they play it down a lot of the time, and I just don't understand. I don't understand. I get it, these news companies are owned by, well, a lot of them are owned by Fox, but I get that they're owned by people, and they don't want to stir people up, but this is not normal. And they're downplaying it most of the time. It's crazy. Not normal. I wonder if I were a governor, I would find a way to deploy the National Guard prior to Trump always on the offensive. Honestly, yeah, I don't know how that would work. You deploy yours first, and then would they be able to federalize them at that point? I'm not really sure. I don't really know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is to this. I don't know, because like I said, the more people push back, the more which again, people should push back, but the more it happens, he's just gonna become more violent. He's just gonna keep militarizing every state, every city that doesn't want to comply with him. And that's just what he's gonna do. And that's terrifying. That is terrifying, because the more pushback he gets, the more violent he is obviously going to get. And they're obviously trying to do this before the midterms. They're obviously trying to get, have martial law or get these certain cities, have the National Guard there and have that there as almost like a threat. And so I do think that they're doing all of this because the midterms are coming, and they don't want, they're not going to let, believe me, they're not going to let Democrats take the House. They're not going to let this be a normal election. There's just no way. And obviously I think the foundation of that is this. I think the foundation of that is sending the National Guard to different cities, is federalizing the National Guard. And I know that people in my life think I'm crazy, because I'm well, I don't know if there's going to be an election, and if there still is, then it's not going to be a normal one. And people think I'm crazy, but I feel like this is the proof of it. They're not doing this for nothing. They're doing this for control. It's on purpose. Yeah. Okay. Every state having its own military was never going to end well, honestly. honestly. I mean, I get it and I don't. Like, I guess I get it, because back then during the Civil War, they wanted that, there were some states that like wanted to secede and all that kind of stuff. So like they had it back then. But if the government can just federalize it, then what's the point? Then what's the point? Then what's the point of this whole states' rights thing? What's the point of even having them at all if the government can just federalize it? Like, what is the point? That I feel like that there is no point anymore. Like, that just negates everything. Yeah, right. It's a lack of urgency. It is a lack of urgency, and it's a lack of understanding like the importance or the moment we're in. And I don't understand. I'm sure like the people themselves want to want to act with a little bit of urgency, want to be a little scared, but I'm sure they're being told they have to, do straight news and they can't have like an opinion or whatever. I don't know either. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to this. I just don't know. Because courts are helping in a sense, but they're not listening to the courts. So I don't know what to do, because they're just not listening. And of course the Supreme Court isn't going to do shit. So where does that leave us,
A year ago, you could count on one hand the number of times that the National Guard has been activated, federalized. We've already now seen it happen in Los Angeles. There's a threat to make it happen in Chicago. It could happen beyond that.
What the president is claiming that he wants troops to do, they don't even have the authority to do it.
Right.
They have no arresting powers. They have no legal authority to be able to implement or to do any police work.
It comes amid a large-scale threat campaign from the Trump administration, lawsuits from the Justice
Right, because that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. It's about, it is to be threatening. Like, that's the whole point. That is the whole point. It is to be threatening. He wants people to be threatened because, again, these are blue cities and blue states. He wants people to feel threatened. That's what he wants. He wants people who didn't vote for him. He wants people who don't like him to feel unsafe. He wants them to cripple under the pressure. That's what he wants. There are people protesting now. I know there are people, I think there were veterans recently, I think just like earlier today, that are protesting and doing like a sit-in, and they said they're not going to leave until the National Guard leaves. And so there are people, which scares me now that I think about it, because they have weapons now, so that's a little scary. But there are people who are pushing back. I think there was a protest in Chicago over the weekend, and so people are pushing back. This is not like, people are not taking this lightly, and I think him doing this in blue cities in particular is because those tend to be the places where people do push back, where there are big protests. And so he doesn't like that. He doesn't want that. So he's trying to scare everyone into submission now. And I definitely think that's what this is. He's trying to scare people into submission, to not feel safe to fight back, not feel safe to protest, not feel safe to make your voice heard, so he can just do what he wants. Yeah. We have SES, not National Guard, State of Emergency Service. They only train on disaster relief, not fight war. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Is like, it's not like we're not having natural disasters. It's not like natural disasters just haven't happened. Like, that's, but instead he's sending them out here to militarize our cities, to militarize our cities. That's what he's doing, instead of actually helping people who have been through natural disasters. Like, that's the other crazy part of this isn't there there's a hurricane going on now, I think, that's coming soon, and yet the National Guard is being sent to Washington DC, and then all these other states are sending them to Washington DC, and now he wants to go to Chicago. There are literal disasters happening. There are literal disasters that still need to be cleaned up, that people still need help from, like the tornado here in St. Louis. And so this is like just so crazy. It's so crazy. He destroyed FEMA too. He did. He also destroyed FEMA. And so a lot of people are just going to be SOL, honestly. And I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's hard for me to gauge, like, are people actually like paying attention? Are they actually scared? Or is everyone still deluding themselves into thinking that we're just going to get through this in 4 years? Like, I don't know. I don't know where people are at, but I feel like people are just deluding themselves into thinking we're just going to get through this in 4 years. And that's just, I don't even think, like, I think it's going to be hard to get through till the midterms at this point. Like, this is not good. I hope the protest crowds grow in the cities. They want to scare them with the military visual to stay indoors. Yeah, I hope they grow too. And I actually, you know, now that we're talking about it, I do think that's probably the point, is to scare people into submission, especially in those specific cities, because he's talking about New York after Chicago. And I think it's on purpose because they don't want you to fight back. They don't want you to protest. They don't want you to make a fuss. People don't see clearly and don't understand history and politics. Yeah, you're right. You're very right. You are so right.
Department challenging sanctuary policies across the country, including in Illinois. A visit to the Chicago area from Homeland.
That's what a lot of this is too. Or these are sanctuary cities or sanctuary states, and so, so he's mad and he doesn't want them to be sanctuary cities or sanctuary states anymore.
And Security Secretary Kristi Noem calling out local politicians.
They're being obstructionists when it comes to getting dangerous criminals off of their streets.
Again, what about states' rights? What about states' rights? What about that? Huh? That just doesn't exist anymore? Doesn't exist anymore? Okay.
And now, letters from Attorney General Pam Bondi to dozens of districts, including Illinois, calling on states to dismantle sanctuary policies or face federal funding cuts.
I'm not daring them to do anything. I'm just saying they don't have a right to federal law and state law, separate endeavors, and they don't have a right to do the things that they're threatening to do.
And as the I-Team reported last month, a landmark lawsuit from the Justice Department over sanctuary policies in Illinois, Chicago, and Cook County was dismissed by a federal judge. The Justice Department deadline to replead the case is today. And the I-Team confirmed with the Illinois National Guard they have received no orders from the president to mobilize in the city. As of this hour, the Justice Department has not amended or repleted its lawsuit against the state and Chicago over sanctuary policies. If they do not do so by midnight tonight, the judgment will be final, although they will have a chance to appeal to a higher court.
Oh.
Late this afternoon, Governor...
Oh, no. That's what they're doing then, isn't it? Oh, no. Oh, no. Then that's probably what they're doing. They're probably not going to respond, and they're just going to appeal it in a higher court. Because I think a lot of this court stuff is also dangerous, because eventually it's going to have to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to side with him. So I do think this is also dangerous. That's like the most messed up part about this all, is that the courts are the only ones who are seemingly saving us right now from the worst of the worst. But the problem is I think they're going to keep appealing things until they get to the Supreme Court. And then, of course, the Supreme Court is going to side with them. And so I think that's also that's the most frustrating part that's very frustrating. That's a very frustrating part about all of this, is that they're just going to keep going until they get to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is just going to be like, sure, do whatever you want. We don't care. We don't care. God, it's just, it's terrifying. Stop saying they can't when they don't care. They follow law, Pritzy. No, and that's the other thing, is like, they're of course they're gonna break the law, because they've been breaking the law. Like, they have been breaking the law. Of course they're gonna break the law, because that's what they've been doing this whole entire time. They've been doing this whole entire time. We have not seen any dangerous criminals getting rounded up, anything, but actually, no, there hasn't been any dangerous criminals being rounded up. The only things that I've been seeing is them brutalizing immigrants. Like I said, there was that one guy who was like literally pleading with them. He's like, I have a family. He's like, I'm just getting home from work. Like, I'm trying to get home from work. And it was just so devastating to watch it. It was so devastating. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They're just kidnapping regular people, brutalizing regular people because they came from a different country, because their skin is brown. Like, it's so messed up. It is so messed up. And I don't like that they have weapons now. That's terrifying, really. It's terrifying.
Pritzker issued a response to the president possibly sending National Guard troops here to Chicago. Pritzker said in part, quote, "Our state and local law enforcement partners know our neighborhoods and our streets because they live here too. They are not asking for this, and we will continue to listen and coordinate with them."
And that's what he keeps saying. He keeps saying, oh, well, people are asking me for this. Everyone in these cities are asking me for this. The other day, he was saying black women were asking him for this, which is psychotic. And he just keeps saying that. He keeps saying that everyone's asking for this. Everybody wants this. The other day, he said a story about how he said a couple crazy stories. The other day, he said a story about how now his friends can go out to eat. They haven't gone out to eat in years because they were so scared because they kept getting mugged every time they went out to eat. But now they can go out to eat. So they've been out to eat like 3 times this week, even though bars and restaurants have reported that their traffic has gone down substantially since the National Guard has been there. So that's not true. That's also an insane story that's not true at all. Another story that he told, I think today, was that his friends, I forget what city it was it like Baltimore or LA or one of the states? He said that, city is one of the cities. He said that in this city that they leave their car doors open, they leave their trunk open, they leave everything open so that way people can come and get things and they don't have to deal with it. This man is like, he's like, well, of course he's lying. He's of course lying. But I also think he's losing it. That's insane. That is not happening. Like, what are you saying? It's so stupid. These ICE guys just get 1 month worth of training to act like monsters. That's incredibly terrifying too. It is. And they're just hiring anyone for this. That's the other part that I'm getting really nervous about is like the people who are still doing this, the people who are listening to these orders, who are still doing this, who are still going through with this, the people who are still joining ICE, who are still doing this, they obviously are okay with what's happening. And so that's a terrifying aspect, that you're getting all of these people who obviously want to fight or who have the same kind of outlook, have the same kind of agenda. And so they don't mind going in there and brutalizing people because they believe the same thing that Donald Trump believes. And they're ideologues. And I think that's a very scary part of this. I cannot believe how your media never pushes back on their lies to their faces. These people get torn apart in front of Aussie media. Yeah, it's watching news or watching like the press pool and stuff is so frustrating. And anytime he does like a press conference is so frustrating because he will lie, he will tell these outrageous stories, and then people just laugh. And like, this is not funny. This is not funny at all, actually. Like, this is actually really terrifying, and no one's pushing back. No one's correcting him when he lies. It's just like, it's insane, honestly. Okay, so the last video about this that I wanted to watch is this video of what he said today. And I think it kind of wraps this part up a bit. 'Cause what he said today was very telling, I think. So let's get into that.
I think this is another men and women's sports thing. I think this is one of those,
what?
They call them 80-20 issues. I call them 97.
What? Okay, I don't know about this. I don't know what he's talking about right now, but let's listen. Because something he says in this speech or in this press conference is psychotic.
3. I think the Democrats better get smart. And, politically, I hope they don't. But actually, in terms of love for the country, I hope they do. Because it would be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there, I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago is a killing field right now.
No, it's not. Chicago is not a killing field right now. It is not, but okay.
And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense.
Okay, so that's, this part he's just lying. I'm a great with great common sense and I'm smart. You are neither, sir. You are neither. But he said, some people are saying we want a dictator. Some people are saying we want a dictator. I'm not a dictator, but some people are saying that they want a dictator. I think that they're like, listen, A lot of them, when people were calling him a king, the right was like, yeah, sure, we can have a king. Yeah, whatever. And they were memeing about it. I do think the next thing that they're going to start joking about is like being a dictator. And then they're just going to try to normalize it. Because that's what they do, is they've normalized all of this because the Democrats are barely fighting back. And so they've normalized all of this rhetoric. They've normalized all of these crazy ideologies. They've normalized it. And so now when he says, oh, people are saying they want a dictator, maybe they want a dictator. I'm not saying I'm a dictator, but they say they want a dictator, so maybe I should just give them what they want, you know? And that's eventually what it's going to be. It's going to be like, well, some people want a dictator, so like, you know, I'll just be that for them. Isn't that what we should do? Isn't that what we should want? And that's how it's going to happen. And he's just going to keep saying it until people don't find it alarming anymore, because that's what they've been doing this whole entire time, which is why I think people don't find a lot of this alarming, is because we've normalized so much insane shit in this country that now people don't get alarmed by this shit. They don't get alarmed by it. They're just like, oh, well, you know, he says this. But no, that's not what's really happening. And so I do think this is the next thing they're going to normalize is, oh, well, why can't he be a dictator? Why can't he be a king? Why can't he run again? You know, whatever. And they're just going to keep doing it until people are like, oh, well, whatever, you know, which is terrifying. The crazy part is some people really want a dictator. No, you're right. Because I've seen people talk to people at like MAGA rallies and they're like, yeah, no, why not? Which I think is crazy. Especially coming from the people who are like, freedom, you know, this country's all about freedom. We love freedom. What freedom do you think you're going to have under a dictator? Like, I get that they think, oh, well, he has the same ideology as us, so like, we'll be fine. No, you won't. You're not going to have any freedom under a dictator either. Like, things are just like the National Guard. If the National Guard comes to your city, they're not going to treat you any differently. They're going to look at you and they're going to treat you the same exact way. And so if you think that if he, you know, if and when he becomes a dictator, that you're going to be treated differently, you're wrong. You're just wrong. And that you're going to somehow have more freedom than the libs, you're wrong. You're wrong, because you are going to be treated with the same people. The same laws are going to apply to you. And I don't know, but some people really do want dictators, and it's terrifying. He is hearing voices telling him to be a dictator at God's will. No, I actually think he thinks that. Because he has said that before. He's like, I think God saved me when he didn't die. He was like, I think God saved me on purpose. Like, God saved me for a reason. I'm like, oh God, here we go. Here we go, man. Oh God. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was Abrego Garcia. And so let's listen to what happened to him today, which is a travesty, which I'm really upset about. So Abrego Garcia actually just got home, just made it back home, just got back to his family, and now he is in ICE custody again.
A big deportation fight is entering a new phase tonight, with the Trump administration now saying a man at the center of its immigration crackdown could be sent to Uganda. Gary Grumbach is joining us now. And Gary, it feels like tomorrow might be a pivotal day in this case, right?
Hallie, Kilmer Abrego Garcia has to make a critical decision tomorrow that could decide his future. Abrego was reunited with his family in Maryland this weekend after being released from federal custody on Friday.
Yeah, I watched this video on the Majority Report today, and it's just like, God, it's so sad. It's so sad because he finally got to be with his family again, and now they're taking him. Now they put him in ICE custody again. I think it was today, and they're threatening to take him to Uganda, which is just cruel. Which is just so cruel. Just their cruelty has no bounds. They don't care. They're sending tons of people to random ass countries that they have never been to, where they don't know anybody there, they don't know the language, they don't have anybody there, and they are sending tons of people to all these different countries. I think there was like a group of people who were literally stuck in hotels in some random country, and they weren't able to get out. They were just like detained there in these hotel rooms for months. And you're right. We don't talk about we don't talk about everyone who has been in there. You said the guy who actually died. I'm not sure who died from this, but they are not talking about, like, we don't talk nearly enough about any of the other immigrants that have been wrongfully sent away, that have been sent to different countries, that have been in brutal conditions. Like, we don't talk about it enough. And there are thousands of people that this is happening to, but I'm happy at least there's at least one person where we could have like a name to a face, and like people know who he is, because that gets people to care. Because when I think it's just like thousands of people, some people are just like, oh, they don't really think about it. But like when you see that this man has a family and he's being taken away from his family, and when you see this shit, then you're like, wow, okay, I mean, that's really kind of messed up that this is happening to him. And so I am happy that like at least people know about this. But there's so many, like the one he was a barber or a hairstylist, and he also was in the same group of people that they took to El Salvador, and I think he's back now. But he was sexually assaulted when he was there, and like the U.S. government is never going to have any repercussions for that. They're never going to have, if I were to have my dream, all of these people in the Trump administration would be going to jail and would be on trial, and you know, we would actually make them have consequences for all the sick shit that they're doing. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but you know, maybe hopefully one day it will, because they deserve to be held accountable for their actions. They deserve to be held accountable for these violent acts. They deserve to be held accountable. They do. It's so, God, it's just so horrible. It's just so horrible. And like watching him be with his family, and then him having to leave the next day, and then be threatened to go to Uganda. And then Tom Homan is on Fox News saying, well, you know, we said we're not going to separate families. And people are like, oh, we are separating this family. Well, she can move to Uganda. She can go to Uganda. What are you saying? What are you saying? Excuse me if I'm wrong, but she's American. She's an American citizen. Is she not? Is she not? So what are you saying? Oh, well, she can just go to Uganda. Like, this is, oh God, it's sick shit. It is sick shit. Yeah, oh God. Okay, they don't want him to speak. Yeah, you're right. They don't. And they don't want the horrors to be revealed. And that's why they're doing this. Yeah, and Jelaine gets the 5-star treatment. Exactly. She gets to be in some swanky prison, which, I mean, you know, generally I wish prisons had better environments, and I wish prisons in America were more would focus more on rehabilitation instead of like treating people like subhuman. So I wish prisons had better conditions just all around, but it is messed up when you have someone like Ghislaine, I don't know how to say her name, Ghislaine Maxwell, when you have someone like her who's done some of the most atrocious, messed up shit anyone has ever done, and yet she gets treated like she's done nothing wrong, and people like Obregon Garcia are literally over here in an El Salvador, taken to El Salvador in a literal prison camp, it's where they torture people, where they're known for torture. It's not fair. It is not fair, and the cruelty is everything. And I think Ghislaine is gonna get out. I think she's gonna get out, and I think she's gonna get off, because the other day she's like, oh yeah, I never saw Bill Clinton, I never saw Trump, which is a lie. And you know she had to add Bill Clinton in there because he probably has some dirt on Trump, and so she probably had to sprinkle that one in, so that way there wasn't the Clintons weren't gonna come out and start doing blackmail on them or whatever. And so I think she's going to get away. I think she's going to get out. Personally, I think she's going to get out, and I think she's going to get away. Which is so messed up. But I think that's what's going to happen, honestly. All while they're taking all these innocent people, and they're taking them to literal, prison camps, and they're sending them to countries they have never been, don't know the language of, and the cruelty is the point. They just want to be the cruelest people. They're just the cruelest people. Yeah.
face of the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration after he was mistakenly deported to El Salvador in March. Tomorrow morning, he must check in with immigration officials in Baltimore, where it's possible he will be taken into ICE custody. He and his attorneys are being given two options by the Trump administration. Abrego could plead guilty to federal smuggling charges and then be deported to Costa Rica, who has said they will accept him as a refugee, or he could avoid a plea and be deported to Uganda as early as Wednesday, a country that has agreed to take in deported migrants as long as they don't have criminal records. The governor will...
This is so insane. This is so insane. This is so... Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. That was probably really loud. I apologize. This is so insane. Like, this is so insane. And the reason they're saying that he has smuggling charges, even though he doesn't, is because I think they were in Tennessee and he got stopped and they were coming back from like a job, and I don't know if it was like construction or what it was something like that, and he had a lot of other people in his car, and they thought that he was smuggling people. Now the cop let him go. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever came of it. But now they're like, no, he was smuggling people. And so now they're saying that he was smuggling people. They're still saying that he's in the MS-13 gang. So I know you're saying, like, wonder how they're going to justify this time after the lies and fake tattoo pics. They're just running with it. They're just running with these MS-13. They're shameless. They're shameless. They keep lying. And if they tell the lie enough, people just believe them. And it's true. And that's their thing. They just keep repeating a lie over and over and over again until other people believe it's true. And he's not an MS-13, but Tom Holman, when he was talking about Fox in that same interview, he said, oh, he's MS-13. He's MS-13. He's a human smuggler. No, he is not. Like, this is crazy. So they want him to admit to something that he didn't do so he can go to Costa Rica instead of Uganda. But then again, is he from Costa Rica? No. Does he know people in Costa Rica? Probably not. So again, this is just dumb. It's cruelty, and cruelty is the point. And this is just so messed up. And they don't care. And they just don't care. Like, they just want to get rid of him. They want to get rid of him because they made a mistake sending him to El Salvador in the first place, and they don't want to admit that they did, and they don't want to admit that they were wrong. So now instead, they're doubling down and they're lying even more, and they're just putting him in this position where no matter what happens, he loses, you know? And it's just, it's so messed up. By the way, audio is on point. Oh, yes. Thank you. I've been testing it out. Thank you so much. That just made me so happy. I've been trying. Okay. So thank you. Unbelievable, outrageous, and abhorrent. Yeah. 1000%. Oh, she can leave the club fed to work. You're right. It's kind of like Epstein, because he was able to leave when he was in jail, and which is insane. He was literally able to leave for like long periods of time. But yeah, no. Now she has work release, and someone with her kind of charges is not supposed to have that. They're not supposed to get that kind of. They're not supposed to get a work release, but she is. It's just so insane. She has done some of the most horrendous shit anyone could ever do, and she is getting treated so well, and yet there are just normal people who just want to live their lives, and they are getting treated like they are subhuman. It's so maddening on so many levels. Sadly, I think they got this idea from Australia, shipping immigrants offshore to deal with hidden away in horrible conditions by contract jailers. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know much about what goes on in Australia. But I do think that, I do think that that's definitely what they're doing. And, they also I think our private prison industry in this country is another reason for this. Like, when Trump won, the shares for private prisons and everything went up, and people started investing in private prisons, which is a terrifying thought. That's a terrifying thought, but it's because they knew he was going to start doing this shit. So I also think that there's a profit motive behind it, and there's a reason that they're doing this, and it's which is even more despicable, which is even more messed up. Like this country will excuse anything for a profit motive. This country will excuse anything just for the money, just for capitalism. Like it's God. Think they're gonna celebrate her if she gets out. Honestly, I think people like Charlie Kirk were also saying we're starting to say that she's the victim, which is insane. Yeah.
Wants an answer from Abreu's team on this by tomorrow morning. Hallie?
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated.
Oh my gosh. But I think I saw earlier that a judge ruled against them sending him anywhere. So I think hopefully that'll hold up for a little bit, maybe. Who knows? Hopefully it does. But all right, so we're gonna get into the last part of the stream, my last little segment of the stream. So we're gonna do the next. Okay, let me do it real quick. Okay.
A big deportation fight is entering a new.
Okay, I gotta figure out how to do this. But I gotta figure out these transitions. But okay, so my new idea is that I called it politics in context, because I'm like, okay, I want to watch videos about like history and just like things that have happened, so we can kind of have like context for this moment and understand like the history of everything that has gone on and has led to this moment. Anyway, and just like fun stuff. And there's been a lot of like crazy stuff happening, so I thought we would do a fun one today. So we're gonna learn a little bit about the history of drag, and PBS did a whole series on it. So it's called The Masters of Drag, and so I thought that would be fun to do. So yeah, every stream we'll watch a little video and learn something new. Yeah, I thought that would be fun. Okay. Let me know what you think. All right.
Hi all, I'm Peppermint, star of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 9, Broadway's Head Over Heels, and New York City's delightful diva. Welcome to Masters of Drag, where we're telling you stories of American drag pioneers and how the
Okay, I love drag. I really love drag. I love drag a lot. I go to drag shows all the time. They're so fun. I forgot why I did this. I was watching something and it was like the ballroom scene or whatever. Or I don't know, but something I was watching or reading, they were talking about the ballroom scene. I was like, oh, what does that mean? And actually, no. Do you know what it was? I was watching Quantum Leap. I was watching Quantum Leap, and they were talking about the ballroom. They were talking about like the ballroom scene, like the scene, and a lot of, and that's kind of like where drag started. And so I looked into it, and I thought it was really interesting. And then I found this video, so I was like, oh, let's watch this. This will be fun and educational.
The concept of drag has changed over time. We're gonna start.
Hopefully none of this music is gonna give me like a copyright thing. It's PBS, so I was like, it should be fine. But now that I'm like, hopefully the music's okay.
Our journey with Julian Elting, a stage and film star who experienced enormous success in the early 20th century, but he died practically broke and was largely forgotten. So what happened? Julian Elting was born William Dalton in 1891 in Butte, Montana.
1891. This is the other reason I wanted to do this, because I know that like a lot of like Trump was saying earlier, he's like, oh, it's like the trans thing. A lot of people want to demonize trans people, and a lot of people want to demonize the LGBTQ community. And like Snoop Dogg recently said that he's scared to go to the movies because he's scared to see gay people in movies. So Okay. I haven't liked Snoop Dogg for a very long time now. I started not liking him when he said that Trump was okay with him now because Trump pardoned one of his friends. And so he's like, oh, well, he's okay with me now. Okay. So ever since then, I've been like, I'm not a big Snoop Dogg fan. But he said that recently, which is really messed up. And I think that it's important to learn the history of the LGBTQ community, of the trans community, of the drag community, because this is not something that's new. This is not like some new phenomenon that people are, sorry, I have like a hair and it's like right here. Okay. I think I'm okay. I don't know. There's like a hair in my face and it was like really itching this whole entire time. But F Snoop Dogg sellout. Honestly, yes, he is a sellout. There's been many things that he's said and done recently that I'm like, dude, just stop. Just stop. He's been frustrating me for a very long time. But I do think it's important to show that like trans people, LGBTQ people have been around forever. They have been around throughout history. And this is not just some type of new thing that people are trying to like push on people or whatever the hell Snoop Dogg and everyone else is trying to say. But this is it. I still love his music. I get that. I do get that. He did have good music. C1. I like some of Ted Nugent. I'm so ashamed. No, I get it. Like, I used to be the biggest Kanye fan. Like, I really did love Kanye. But I have stopped listening to him. I have. Like, Gold Digger was, like, my favorite song. I knew all the words. But then when he started being, like, a Nazi, I was like, I think I'm going to stop listening. And now I don't listen to him anymore because I just can't. But I feel like Kanye West is a whole different category, I feel like a lot of other artists, you can just be like, okay, whatever. But I feel like Kanye West is in such a like, ooh, he's really such a bad person category that like I don't know. But I know some people still listen to his music, which, is fine. I just I had to stop, but that was really disappointing, I gotta say. It was very much a disappointment. Anyway.
He started dressing in drag at a young age and was performing in local saloons by the time he was a teenager. When his father found out about him doing drag, he was punished, and his mother sent him to live in the Boston area for his own safety. His big break came when a producer spotted him in a play and brought him to New York City. While performing, Elton was so convincing as a woman that often audiences didn't realize the illusion until he took off his wig at the end of the show, which is something I would never do. Okay, so don't ask me to do this. After performing in vaudeville, which were variety-style shows popular in the early 20th century, he made his Broadway debut in a musical in 1904 called Mr. Wicks of Wickham, about a man who disguises himself as a woman. Now, the show flopped, but he was singled out as a success. He had perfected the art of female impersonation. He was so talented that he was hired to perform in many more shows and eventually made his way to Hollywood. He even once had a beauty magazine that contained photos of him in his many dresses and included ads for his very own brand of cold cream.
See, this is awesome. Like, I love learning about this because I don't know. I just feel like more people need to know about the history of this country and more people need to know about the different people within these different groups, because I feel like, trans people and especially trans people and drag performers, I'm getting so much hate and so much vitriol by so many people. And everyone wants to act like this is just this new thing and people are just trying to push it on us, and why can't you just like not, like, that's the one thing about Snoop Dogg too, like, I don't want it pushed, I don't want to see it in a movie. Okay, so when two lesbians are like out and about walking around, are you gonna Like, are you gonna go up to them and be like, I get that, like, you're a couple, but I just don't want to go outside anymore because I'm just scared I'm gonna see gay people. Like, gay people exist, and they exist in media, and they should be represented in media. And it's really cool that they were able to do that back then. I'm sure there were tons of pushback back then too, but you know, I think the whole I feel like this history has been so lost because everyone just think that, oh, this has to be some new thing. It's not new. Like people like trans people have always existed. Drag performers have always existed. Gay people have always existed. Yeah. Okay.
He also complained about having to fit into tight corsets to achieve that 24-inch waist. Darling, I don't complain about any of those things. Let's take a look at this footage from the 1920s. The mannerisms, the makeup, the gowns, it's all there, honey. Elton went on successful tours throughout the United States and even Europe, where he once gave a performance at the request of the King of England, Edward VII. King Edward liked it so much that he even gifted Elton with a pet bulldog. Sounds like love at first sight. Check out this post.
That's actually wild. That's actually wild. Oh my god.
Palatial mansion he built for himself in Los Angeles, known by many as the Pink Castle on Silver Lake. At the height of his career, Elton made more money than Hollywood superstar and legend Charlie Chaplin. Now that's a lot of coin. Things started to turn poorly for Elton starting in the 1930s. A different, more outrageous style of drag performance started to become popular, making Elton seem out of date. You see, Elton's performance style wasn't about being exaggerated and funny and loud and campy, as we know drag can be today. He was all about fooling people into thinking that he was a woman. Now, we're not even sure that Elton would have called his work drag, which is why we're using the phrase female impersonator.
Okay.
Elton always walked a tightrope when it came to questions about his sexuality. He never married, lived with his mother, and made sly jokes about his dresses, and admitted that he was different. Aren't we all?
Aww, I wish... Oh man. Well, I still think it's really cool that he was able to like at least do female impersonation. Also, that's really cool. I didn't know, like, I guess I didn't really know the difference between like drag and female impersonation, but I guess that's probably where it started, and then yeah, it just got more campier and like fun and funny. I don't know. Have you all been to a drag show? I love drag shows. I really do. They're so amazing. They're so fun. And you know what's actually, this is not funny, but it is kind of funny. My family has like gone to drag shows. Like Hamburger Mary's used to be in Florida, and they would like go and they would have fun. And then like a couple years later, they were like, oh my God, they're indoctrinating the children. And I remember being like, how do you experience that? How do you experience that fun and liveliness? And then a few years later, just believe everything you hear. Just believe the propaganda. Like, I don't get it, but they do. It's like they can have this experience. They can meet these people. They can see that this is not harmful. And then yet, if Donald Trump or like Fox News tells them that this is happening or tells them that it's this big deal, oh my God, like they take it and they believe it and they like froth at the mouth ever since when you ever mention drag queens, or drag kings, because drag kings exist too. But they probably don't know that, but yeah. Okay, my take on Kanye. I have a long talk to the dog father on this one. My take on Kanye, that nothing he did to himself, not produced, suck, except Jesus Walks. I really liked that one album. I don't remember the name, but it came out when I was younger, and I remember listening to it all the time, and I remember really liking that album. And yeah, Gold Digger was always my favorite song. I just knew all the words. I don't know why. But I when I was growing up, I was a fan of Kanye. Snoop will not have a problem with two women, just with men. Well, no, because the women, I think the movie he was talking about was it was a children's movie, and it was two women kissing, And I might be wrong. He might not be talking about that, but I think that's what I think that, because I don't know if it was like a Pixar movie, but like one of the women had a wife and a child, and she got home and they just had like a peck, and then everyone is freaking out because I don't know, like I just like something that like I follow a lot of queer creators and stuff like that, and like something that I saw one mention is whenever people like conservatives or like, you know, people who are not queer, not everyone, but just like when they want to sexualize queer people so much, and they want to be like, you know, they want to see them as degenerate and there's something wrong with them, and all they see when they look at them is sex, and they don't ever think like this is a relationship. There are people who love each other. They are like any other relationship. They hold hands, they go to the movies, they go on dates, they get dinner. Like, this is not different. This is not somehow salacious. Like, they are in a, like, they are in normal relationships like everybody else. And, but a lot of people just don't see it that way. And it's really sad, honestly. But yeah. The college dropout 2024. That's what it was. The college dropout. Not 2024, in 2004. Yes, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Okay.
Starting in the mid-1930s after Prohibition, he started to drink heavily.
Aww.
Homosexuality became more stigmatized, and the police increasingly cracked down on drag and cross-dressing. Once a successful Hollywood star, he was reduced to performing nightclub acts standing next to his dresses, describing the characters he used to do. He stopped getting regular.
That's so sad. That just made me so sad. That's so sad. And like, oh, it's just so sad because you see like how nothing has really changed. Not nothing has changed, like a lot has changed, but I feel like the ideology still hasn't changed. Again, I was watching Quantum Leap. That's my show right now that I'm watching, is Quantum Leap. And there's an episode where he goes back in time, because that's what it's about, and he's in like the Salem witch trials. And the way that these people are talking, I was like, wow, we really haven't progressed all that much in America, because something was happening and they didn't understand it. People were getting sick and they didn't understand it. So instead they called this lady a witch, and everyone said, oh, well, the preacher said that she's a witch and it's her fault, so that must be the truth. And they were just so easily convinced that these women were the answer to all their problems, and if they just killed them because they were witches, then that would be their solution. And we still really haven't learned from anything like that. Like, we still, like, Donald Trump tells everyone it's immigrants. Oh, it's immigrants. We got to brutalize the immigrants. Oh, it's trans people. We got to get, they're literally Pam Bondi. This is a news story recently. Pam Bondi, the DOJ, is trying to get all of trans people's medical records. They're trying to look into every medical center that has treated someone who is trans. They are trying to get all of those records, which is really dangerous, which is really scary. And so they're just like there are so many problems that we're having, but because people don't want to pay attention, or because people don't want to look into it further or try to understand why these problems are happening, instead they listen to people who want to scapegoat and just, oh, it's the trans people, oh, it's the immigrants, and they believe them, and then they go after them with vitriol, even though it's not true. And like, again, I was watching this episode and I was like, wow, it's crazy that still works today, that we still haven't learned anything from like back when the Salem witch trials are happening. Like, people still have a similar mentality. Like, we may have progressed technologically, we may have progressed in other ways, but like that shit still, people still believe shit like that. People still will, like, it's like have this mom mentality like that. It's very wild. And I do think in the show they were trying to like do that parallel. It's a very good show. I'm going to keep talking about it because because that's what I'm watching right now. Bingo. Thank you. They are just living their normal lives like everybody else. Exactly. Anti-intellectualism has never died. You are so right. It has not died at all. Like, I feel like it's almost gotten worse. Like, we are going back to like that time where it's just like this guy is sick, and instead of trying to figure out why he's sick, they're like, oh, it must be a witch. He must be a witch. what? What are you saying? Like, oh God.
Regular work and eventually lost his mansion in LA.
Aww.
By some accounts, he continued to struggle with alcohol and wasn't successful in reviving his career. He passed away in 1941 at the age of 60.
Damn. That's kind of
Julian
sad.
left an incredible legacy of drag performance, but despite his former fame, has been largely forgotten. Me learning about the mainstream success of Elting just proves to me that drag is for everybody.
Yes.
It's probably because drag includes performance and entertainment. It deals with gender and sex and sexuality and politics and a whole lot of fun. Subscribe to this channel for more stories of...
Okay, that was fun. You said thank you. This is interesting. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you for listening and watching. I don't know. I really things are so dark that I don't know. I just want to put like a lot of the politics and what's happening right now in context. So I'm like, I don't know everything about history. I don't know everything about what's happened in this country. Like I know things, but talking about slavery and stuff the other day just made me realize like, maybe we should just react to like history and stuff so we learn more and we get to learn. I don't know. That was my thought behind it. I thought this was really interesting, and yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this like segment like this because I really do like it and I really do think it was fun. Yeah, that's really all I had prepared for today. I feel like I'm ending it a little early, so I apologize. But today was so fun. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I am going to be back on Wednesday at 8:30. I'm going to be going live, and I'm of course going to like cut this up and put clips up and stuff. Yeah, thank you for coming. Did you say no, don't end it? I was like, I can try to find some other video. No end. I'm not sure. You said no ended, and I don't know if you meant no do or no don't. I'm not sure. Anyway. But I'm excited for this new little like setup that I got, and I'm glad the audio is working, and go to sleep. Yes, thank you. I need sleep. I'm glad I'm kind of ending it kind of early because I do need sleep. I don't get sleep. I don't know if that's obvious. But yes, thank you so much for everyone who is here. I love you all. And I just want to shout out my members real quick. So thank you to Troy Roberto, Queen of Daydreams, Crystal Safira. I'm sorry. I feel like I say it wrong every single time, and I know you're in here. So if you ever want to like correct me, please do. Please do. I will not get upset like Cenk. I will take any type of criticism or constructive criticism, and I will listen. But anyway, so yes, thank you to my members. If you want to become a member, you can do that. And I'm so bad. I feel weird promoting myself. But yes, thank you so much. I love you all, and thank you for coming. And today was really fun. But yes, I will see you on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good night.